I'm the lead pastor here at the church, Redeemer. So glad that you're here. This is your first time. Welcome. You've come on a very special Sunday, a very unique Sunday. I'm really excited about what God has in store for Redeemer's Church in 2015. He's really laid on our hearts some really pretty amazing stuff, and that we get to participate in that is completely humbling to me, because it is. But I'm the kind of person that always I am very destination kind of focused. Tell me where I'm going, tell me what it's going to look like, and I like to live there. But when I live like that, I fail and I miss out on what's happening presently. And I'm wanting to become more of a person that is very present in what God is doing today. And so today, as much as I've been wanting to avoid this day, we've known it's been coming because we've been talking about it for a couple of months. And as your pastor, this is one of the most bittersweet moments for me. I know that what we're doing in celebrating the Moores, Lonnie and Paula Moore, in celebrating and acknowledging them and commissioning them into this next thing that God has for them as they will become missionaries in Costa Rica. I know that that's right, and I know that that's good. But as right and as good as that is, it was with great sadness for me. And I know it is for many of you as well. I couldn't look over that side this first service, and I still can't. I love you, but I can't look over there. I love you, but I still look over here. So don't think I don't love you on this side. Lonnie and Paula have been instrumental in this church for the last 10 years. Paula is our children's ministries pastor, and Lonnie is our student ministries pastor. Our families are different because they have chosen this to be home, because they have chosen Redeemer's Church to be family. Our children are different. Many have grown up and come back to serve here because of their influence, because of the way God has used them. And I've had the pleasure of working with them. But not only are they people that I've worked with, and not only am I someone who has the opportunity to lead them to do the works of the kingdom, in a very short time, Lonnie and Paula have become my friends. And in a very short time, we've seen and experienced some great highs. And in a very short time, we have experienced some very deep lows. And Lonnie and Paula being part of our family and part along with our staff and along with many of you who have given tremendous amounts of energy and many hours to make sure that people who walk through these doors are loved. We have all seen God do great things. And so it's been a joy to journey with them, me personally, for almost 2 years. I am grateful for their love. I am grateful for what they have spoken to me personally. I am becoming a better leader because of them. And I promise you that I will steward that gift well in what you have given to me. I love you guys. Would you guys come up and just share your hearts with our church just for a little bit about what's up, what you're doing? Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Lonnie and Paula, two amazing people, just welcome them this morning with me.
Don't judge me if I don't look up. But I lost my place a lot because it got very blurry. We're going to open up our Bibles to Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh really loudly, a time to mourn favorite, a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, a time to gather them, a time to embrace, a time to refrain, a time to search, a time to just give up, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, to mend, to be silent, to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. Timing is everything. A comedian with bad timing can butcher every joke. A cook with bad timing is either going to serve you raw or burned food. Sometimes a particular request to our parents can have the best of outcomes if the timing is planned just perfectly. King Solomon looks at timing here in Ecclesiastes, and he provides us the theme that despite us wanting to go through every low along with every high, they both together provide not only a foundation for what is coming next, but also an appreciation for what it means to truly celebrate God's goodness. In order for us to know what it truly means to laugh, we also need to weep. In order for us to know what it truly means to build from the ground up, we sometimes need to tear down and start from the beginning. In order for us to speak appropriately, we first need to take the time to just listen. Pair all that up with God's purpose, and you have a people either wandering around aimlessly, wondering, what next, Lord? Or you see a people gathered at the feet of Jesus with their hands open wide, saying, here I am. "10 years ago, when our family accepted the call to venture from the frigid cold of the Midwest to the dry heat of the Central Valley, we could only expect that this was going to be a high and exciting journey filled with much learning and humbling. And boy, did we get that and so much more. When you devote yourself to ministry and you get a call to venture to a new place with a new people, with a new way of doing life, you quickly learn that for a season, you are the student and everyone else is the teacher. Having both grown up in Southern California, Lonnie and I very quickly discovered that the beach, shopping fast, freeway kinds of life we once knew was still quite far away. Instead, we met a slow river, small community of warm homes, eager to make a difference way outside the borders. And that's exactly what they've done. Generally speaking, children and youth ministry tends to be treated as the secondary focus of most churches. Youth pastors are constantly fighting to get more space, more calendar, more opportunity. Children's pastors are just struggling to be treated like adults and taken seriously for what they want to provide. So we've heard. Because Redeemer's church families, they see things quite differently. If anything, we have heard more from families here asking, why can't we do even more? How can we help? Or how many friends can my kids bring? In the last 10 years, you have traveled with us through some lows to get to some highs. And you even trusted us when we didn't even know exactly what the outcome would be. What were you thinking? Sure, yeah, go ahead, convert the church sanctuary into an 80s dance hall. Sure, just take the kids and students out of school so that they can go out and serve. Sure, you can bring a semi-truck filled with snow and pile it on the green lawn for Christmas. Sure, you can put a 15-year-old in a leadership position. Sure, you can challenge the community to buy 600 pairs of shoes while in a recession. Sure, you can ask kids to lead worship in an adult service. Sure, you can hire the youth pastor's wife to run children's ministry, even though she's never done that before. What were you thinking? The truth is, you and us, we weren't thinking at all. We were just listening. Listening to God's beating heart for what would extend his kingdom and bring families to come together for a greater mission than they could ever come up with on their own. You see, his purpose has always been greater than ours. Verse 6 of Ecclesiastes, it speaks to me. It says, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away. There are moments in time that God asks us to cling on to and to grow from. And there are other times that he calls us to walk away from and just to grow out of it. I believe that. We've seen it in your own life stories. Stories of transformation out of hurt relationships and hurting past. And even stories out of hanging on to the truth that was planted in your heart long ago and later accepted. Our journey through Redeemer's Church is one that we will forever keep. This chapter of our story has allowed us to bend and stretch our own faith walks, never alone, but in partnership with you. When we didn't know the answers, you didn't squander at us, you just came alongside us and you helped us figure it out together. The chapter of Redeemers for us is not where we walked alone, but rather where we learned what together in unity actually meant. Together, we were not satisfied with being an ordinary church. Together, we're not satisfied with doing everything the same way that it's always been done. Together, we were not satisfied with those who are hurting and looking for a way out. These moments that have formed us and have shaped our future. And for those of you who are entering church for the very first time ever, best New Year's resolution, by the way, you don't know what you just got yourself into, let me tell you, just hold on. Because God does have a purpose for you. And the hopeful message and the love that this church, that these people cling on to, will transform you from the inside out as long as you let it. We have always believed that the church is the hope of the world, and by golly, this church, Redeemer's Church, it strives to remain a vehicle of that hope to share it with the world. Frankly, we couldn't do what we're about to do had it not been for this church's encouragement and hope for us. Ecclesiastes 3 goes on to read, "What does the worker gain from his toil? I have seen the burden that God has laid on men. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end." The important thing here is that He makes things beautiful in its time. How often we have asked God to hurry up or lighten the load or maybe just slow things down just a little bit. And yet no one can master the perfection of what God's timing is. I'll be the first to admit it. I didn't see this timing coming. Redeemer's Church has become a home. For our family, filled with some of our very best friends. Oh, I can see. And it will forever hold a place in our hearts. It has been a privilege to have a small part in so many of your homes. You have some amazing kids and students that are just rocking this world. The vision that this church has allowed us to be a part of has been instrumental in our next steps by providing us with the confidence to continue His good and mighty works. Mark Batterson, one of my favorite writers, he tweeted this week and he said, "Time may be measured in minutes, but life is measured in moments." Thank you for the moments that you have allowed us to play in your lives, and the moments that we will just forever carry with us into eternity.